This is Dr. Jerome Corsi today. It is Wednesday. It's September 18th, 2024. Thank you for joining us on thetruthcentral.com. You can follow me at X at CorsiJerome1, and on Substack it's JeromeCorsiPhD.substack.com. Doing a lot more writing in Substack, so you can start taking a look at it. And I plan to develop Substack pretty substantially over the next few months. The God's Five Stones is doing quite well. This is our foundation, our 501c3, tax deductible foundation, and it's G-O-D, no apostrophe S, and you spell out five, F-I-V-E, and then stones is plural, S-T-O-N-E-S, gods5stones.com. On the screen, for those of you who are watching this as a video, you can see the QR. That QR will take you right to donate. We're reporting on the algorithms found in the state official Board of Election databases for voters. Now, this is a pretty alarming story, but it's beginning to take hold. So there's a Gateway Pundit article up today, and Chris is going to show it to you here on the screen, those watching again as a video. And the article details that what we have done is we have filed now with the Ohio Secretary of State, and we have an official investigation going. I got confirmation yesterday from Brian Katz, who is the director of the Public Integrity Division within the Ohio Secretary of State's office, Frank LaRose, that in fact they've received our complaint, our statement of finding of an algorithm that was done by Andrew Paquette, Dr. Andrew Paquette, PhD. And the algorithm is it's a mathematical formula by which the voters in 3 counties in Ohio have been rearranged in terms of their numbering scheme, which allows false voter registrations, people who don't exist, to be inserted into the file and get certifiable state ID numbers. Now, once those false records are inserted into the file, the people who devised this scheme, the criminals who put this algorithm into the Ohio database, can say they've now got a pool of potential mail-in voters that can be certified. Because once a non-existent person gets a voter ID number that's legitimate, you can, through the computer, say, I want a mail-in ballot for that person. Where you get a mail-in ballot, then you run it through the tabulating machine. It has the same number on it, the same voter ID number as the number that was issued by the state of Ohio to that non-existent voter. And that the two match, so you've got a certifiable vote, even though there's no person in there. Now, if you have 30 or 40,000 of these that are in the database, you can swing any election you want. You just have to say, okay, do you want, Kamala or Pamela or whatever her name is to win by 1% or 3% or 5% or 10%. You want her to surge late in the day. You want to stop the count and we'll do it tomorrow. You tell me how you want to run it, and I can do it with a computer. I think this is an intelligence operation. This is intelligence agencies. I'm coming to the conclusion increasingly as we find these algorithms that the intelligence agencies have decided to take over the elections in the United States. The CIA has been running elections around the world, cheating other countries, which we haven't cared. We're supposed that's for a national security purpose, although I think it's just for the greater good and glory of the CIA on their New World Order schemes. Well, Dr. Paquette, I think brilliantly, has found these algorithms, and the 3 counties are 3 of the most populous counties in Ohio. Now, the Gateway Pundit article details all this, and it's building in comments very rapidly. I'm beginning to watch it through the morning here, and it's getting a lot of play, more so than the first articles we did on this. So now we've found algorithms in Ohio, New York, and New Jersey. I'll be reporting on New York and New Jersey next. Then we're going to look at Texas, look at Pennsylvania, look at a variety of the others. I'm beginning to think that the algorithms are endemic. They're now placed, I'm beginning to think, in the state voter rolls across the country, unbeknownst to the state secretaries of state who are running the elections. I'm not saying that the boards of elections in the states are criminal or crooked or in on the scheme. I don't think they know anything about it, because these algorithms are extremely difficult to figure out. They're cryptographic schemes, and they're intelligence agency quality. They're complicated. The scheme in Ohio is based on modular arithmetic. Now, I'd venture to say that probably, I wonder if there's anybody listening to this broadcast today who knows what modular arithmetic is. Modular arithmetic is a very strange branch of mathematics. It was discovered or invented, I guess, in the 1800s. And what it involves is going through a cycle. These are integers going through a cycle. So, for instance, the one example they usually use to explain modular math is a 12-hour clock. So, as we all know, the day is 24 hours long, but the clock face is 12 hours. So modular or mod 12 means the clock has gone all the way around from starting at, midnight. It's gone around until noon. So that's 12 have already been covered. So 3 in the afternoon is 3 mod 12. Okay, so it's 3 more than mod 12. And the math of this is extremely difficult. Again, it gets more complicated as it goes along. But what it means is that when the state board is numbering the voters, they remove the date of registration, which is the natural way to order voters. In other words, if you register first, you should be number 1. If you're the 100th person to register in a state, you should be number 100. But this changes this. So in other words, the first voter is, let's just take mod 8. Okay, so the first voter is number 1. Then you add 8, so the next voter is 9. Then you add 8, the next voter is 17. And in these spaces, you go back in and fill in the spaces. So there are voters reseated in the spaces through, 2 through 7. Okay, or 2 through 8. So in those spaces where you're inserting voters, you can put in false voters. What's a false voter? A clone is a false voter. A clone is you just take someone's registration and you change some of the features to it. Maybe change their middle initial, give them a new address. Becomes a new but fictitious voter because that person doesn't exist, and that person doesn't exist living at that address. Now, to find that out, you'd have to go and do field surveying. You'd have to hire people at the State Board of Election, and you'd have to go into the field and you have to say, does Mr. Clark Kent live at this address? Superman doesn't live here. Well, okay, but he's registered in the Ohio database at this address. Well, that may be, but he doesn't live here. In fact, Superman doesn't exist. It's a cartoon character. Okay, so this is the kind of clone you can create, and you can create thousands of them. And again, if you're using voters who are largely dormant, no one's going to care or notice. And even if you use the real voter's name, who's going to know they have 2 registrations? Again, it'd probably be better to use dormant ones because you don't risk somebody trying to vote. But, we get all kinds of anomalies coming up, which begin to maybe make sense once you understand that, these modules inside of the state databases. It's mind-boggling to think that maybe an intelligence agency has gone in and altered secretly the database numbering schemes in the state of Ohio, the state of New York, state of New Jersey, and other states. But if you go to gods5stones.com, read the documents. We've got up there that we're being showing you now, Paquette's paper. It's heavily mathematic. That's the paper in Ohio. It's heavily mathematical. You'll have to wade through the math if you really want to understand it. We're giving you, there's also on God's Five Stones, I've done a whole series of videos. There must be now 10 or 15 videos up there, and interviews. I'm doing more interviews. And the interviews there, Chris is showing you the archive, all these videos. Just listen to a few of the videos. Videos are simple because what we're doing is I'm explaining in common sense terms what this means. Where if I'm the criminal and I'm in control of the algorithm and I'm running the computer from within the Ohio State Board of Election, and I see that Pamela, Mamala is losing, well, I can just start voting some of my non-existent voters, mail-in ballots. And then I can keep doing that throughout the day to keep it even. I can vote a bunch at one time. And since I've probably got 30 or 40,000 of them, I can outweigh any red mirage, which now the New York Times is saying there's going to be a red mirage again in New York. Well, it's not going to show up because they're going to use all these fake voters to make it go away. The left doesn't mind cheating. The Democratic Party is a communist party. Let's face it. The Democratic Party is a communist party. And they don't care about cheating, stealing, lying, narratives, shooting the president. They just don't care about any of the rules. Dumping Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, and it turns out the mayor of Springfield, Ohio is Antifa. I mean, give me a break. Why don't we just have Satan be head of the Democratic Party? Maybe he should be the chairman of the Democratic Party. Satan. Makes sense. They want to mutilate children. They want to sexually make sure that nobody procreates. They want to offer abortions at their national convention. Just make Satan head of the Democratic Party. So Lucifer, why not? They're worshiping him anyway. They don't have any truth standard. If the intelligence agencies are now this anti-American, thinking that our Constitution's outmoded, it's old-fashioned. George Washington wore a wig. He has nothing to do with us. And you don't, like Harari says, you can cut into he's this Noah Harari, who's this big advisor. Of course, they downplay his role after he writes these outrageous books saying that there's no soul in a human being. You cut into them, you don't see the soul. That's a narrative. All this postmodern nonsense about narratives. As soon as you get into narratives, there's no objective standard of truth. This is what I wrote about, and Chris will show you the cover of the book on which I really developed this theme. It takes a little bit of, it's not an easy read, but it's well worth it. And that is the truth about neo-Marxism, cultural Maoism, and anarchy. What I show in this book is that this modernism, this postmodernism, Baudrillard, who said there is only simulacra. All we do is create word games to describe reality. And your word game is as good as my word game. So if your word game is that, you're a duck, bisexual duck from ancient Egypt, I've got to buy that. I got to celebrate that. Even though to me it sounds schizophrenic. Got to see a psychiatrist. You think you're, a transgender duck from a previous era. I certainly don't want you running my military or United Airlines or wearing a dress in Congress as though you're a man. Oh, I forgot. That sex is not gender. Okay, so what is your gender? Is it gender of a fruit fly? How about a gender of a snake? How about a gender that procreates through eggs? Well, men can have babies. Men can menstruate. I mean, are you people insane out there? And now we're seeing finally pictures of Macron's wife who looks like a man, and these European leaders are married to men. It's insanity. And the European Union is talking about now, the European Commission sending long-range missiles into Russia. What, do they want nuclear war? Yes, they do. These nutcases want nuclear war. Well, if you can rig an election to make Kamala president, why can't you have a nuclear war. And besides, if we don't have a nuclear war, maybe we can, have a war in the Middle East. Let's go. And Democratic Party's fine. Let's kill Jews. Let's support Hamas. Let's bring in Haitians and say, no, they don't eat cats. They don't eat dogs. Well, what are all these pictures of them mutilating cats and dogs? And Pamela, with her cackle, she sounds like Satan, cackling all the time. Is this woman insane? Is she drunk? Give her a microphone. Let her talk. She and the ABC debate is now completely discredited and disgraced. It's nothing but a bunch of hacks. This guy with the guy who's from Italy, Mirror or whatever his name is, and 6 months ago he's wandering the streets of Italy picking up homosexuals. I don't know what the hell the guy's doing. This guy looks like, who is he? When did he become a journalist? What's the deal? I don't know whether he's gay or not gay or whatever. What difference does it make? I don't care. The point is, why is he fact-checking only Donald Trump? That's what I care about. The rest of it, I don't have any clue about. I take it back. I mean, I'm not trying to demean the guy. What I'm trying to do is to say the guy is not a legitimate journalist. He's a hack. He's in there doing a political job. And ABC should be disgraced by this entire operation, as if this wasn't apparent to people. So Pamela is 5'2", so they build a smaller podium for her, and they don't show the two podiums, so you can see that her podium's a lot smaller than Trump's. And they put the lighting so Trump looks bad. I mean, these people are evil. This isn't journalism. People don't deserve to be on the air as journalists. It's disgusting. Chris, why don't you comment? I think we're getting into some areas here today that I think should appall the American people that we've come to this point.
Well, they should be appalled. And think about this: watching the debate, you look at it and you don't wonder anymore why Kamala Harris didn't want to do any other ones. She just wanted that debate. She did not want to bother with Fox. And I'm under the impression that even any other network wouldn't have adhered to such rules as, well, Kamala needs a smaller podium, or they were going to ask the easier questions to her, and they were going to make Trump look bad. I get that, but the rest of the ideas and making sure the camera angles were properly set so they looked even, the same size, and that sort of thing. So the trickery used by ABC, other networks would probably say, "Hey, I just can't do this. We can do other things to make Trump look bad. We can't do this because it's going to be found out eventually," and that's what happened.
Well, the entire charade here, the entire nonsense of this fake media, and it's getting obvious. The CIA pumps out these talking points. Well, Kamala is now leading in the polls. Give me a break. She can't even get 10 people to come to a rally.
Polls are clickbait, though, these days. It's all about setting up a race. I'm pretty sure the idea is most people realize that Kamala's campaign is falling down by the wayside. It's highly superficial, and the Dems are trying to push that through. But they're making it look like there's a race, so people will still watch the news media. They'll still click.
Also, see, if they get it to say, if they gaslight enough and say,
right,
Pamela is gaining, and everybody likes Pamela. Okay, well then suddenly they can use this, these algorithms, and they can vote their mail-in ballots, and they can say, look, they do it in Europe. I think this has been an international intelligence agency operation. I think we're living in an intelligence agency Truman Show.
Well, this is preparing us for that count. This way, on election night, when you see that Donald Trump has taken 300 or so electoral votes, when the mail-in ballots that were left over somehow and whatever else was counted,
driven in from Pittsburgh in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I believe it was Bethpage, if you will, Bethpage, Long Island. But the idea is every day a state will kind of skew blue, just like in 2020. But they prepared us for it for 2 months, so it's plausible to a fair number of American people.
Who just buy and you can tell it's an intelligence agency operation, psyop,
right?
Because the echo chamber. So CNN says blah 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 blah, and then ABC says blah 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 blah, almost identical, and then
Right.
that populates throughout the entire echo chambers. That's all you hear all day long, is this blah 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 blah, and then they lie about the assassin attempt in Trump. They lie about everything. They say that who cares if we dump 30,000 Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, or if we have open borders and we just let people come into the country. Criminals welcome here, drug addicts welcome here. Intelligence agencies running the drug trade, intelligence agencies running pedophilia, intelligence agencies running Satan. This is not America.
Exactly. And then, of course, they roll out the obligatory Hillary appearance on MSNBC to comment on
In her
everything.
wheelchair, they wheel her in so she doesn't have another, fainting spell.
That's got to be horrible. But she's talking. She had, immediately after the assassination attempt, or very shortly after, she still spews this whole Trump is dangerous to democracy. So it's
Oh,
almost
Russian
like,
collusion, Russian collusion, Russian
yeah,
collusion.
election denier should be added next to that woman's name.
Anti-vaxxers
Awful.
have to be killed.
Yep.
Get rid of anybody who doesn't agree with imprison everybody who doesn't agree with us.
She said that. She said that. She said something just like that on the Rachel Maddow show. I can actually pull that up if you want to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it. That's a good one.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to pull that up. Give me a few seconds here since I didn't have it up already. I had a different one up. Yeah, that one is just the one. That's the obligatory Trump is orange man bad that she does. This one is everybody else aside from, well, people who agree with her is bad. So let's get right into that in just a few moments. I will have the volume up because for some reason I didn't.
And boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence because then boosting.
There we go. A better deterrence.
You don't agree with me, you go to prison.
Right, exactly. Hey, why not? Biden's done it already. Bannon's in jail for that particular reason.
Yeah, and all the Democrats that don't go to these hearings, if you're a Democrat, fine, commit any crime you want to commit. How many billions of dollars did the Biden family haul in from Ukraine? Oh, that was an intelligence operation. I forgot. We're going after Burisma in order to boost them up to go after Gazprom because we hate Russia. We want to go to nuclear war with Russia. Well, I don't want to go into nuclear war with anybody.
Right. And the funny thing is now that, as I said several times in the past, they're running scared because now it's going to be potentially both Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will have access to information and will have access to such information which might incriminate a lot of the deep state and the Democrat Party. That's why they're scared. They're not a threat to democracy. They're a threat to Democrats.
But don't worry, we got these secret algorithms. Everything's cool.
Nothing to see here.
We can vote nothing to see. We just have all the mail-in ballots we want. We can certify them because we rig the schemes, and these people don't exist, but they have legitimate state ID numbers, so they can vote, and that'll be a legitimate vote counted, and nobody's going to go see if the person's real because this is all sham. And of course, this is Truman Show. You think you're voting, but you're not really voting.
Yeah, look the other way. Have a cat sandwich, even though that doesn't exist.
All right. The memes of Donald Trump protecting the cats and the dogs are really pretty hilarious.
I love them.
I do too. Him and the car, the player plane surrounded by the cats and the dogs and the geese and everything else. The Haitians come over here. They want to eat the pets.
Well, there are some, and then even Marianne Williamson came out and said, "Well, let's not turn a blind eye to this because there are people who practice voodoo and they do this. They come into the country and they're going to do that. The problem is it's taking away from the real problem. 15,000 plus Haitian immigrants were forced into let's say the square peg into the round hole of a 58,500 person population town known as Springfield, Ohio. So you're creating a super minority there.
I have to say, look, it's great for the economy because now the rents are going up.
Right. But
all the people who live in Springfield have to move out.
What are you doing to the services, though? Think about it: 55,000 to 70,000 plus overnight, virtually overnight.
Don't worry, we'll give them cell phones. We'll put them on Medicare. We'll let them have Social Security cards. We'll send them money. They can have food stamps and they get cell phones.
Well, there's plenty of food supply around, I guess. Pick out the neighbors' yards, and then the woods or something like that. But Can't
What
turn
do
a
they do?
blind eye.
When they eat all the pets and they eat all the wildlife, well, then what do they do next?
Well, see, you talked about David Muir earlier, that stupid fact check from him. Basically, what he was telling you was, well, Mr. President or Mr. Former President, a government official uh, told us that nothing
An
is to see
Antifa
here.
government official
Right, nothing's happening,
who
and we
hates
took his word
America.
as the word of God,
Yeah,
and that's it.
we're gonna believe him.
They could have sent 2 journalists there to check things out, but I don't think.
Well, we don't need any stinking journalists.
Well,
We don't need no stinking truth here.
right, you remember the Weekly World News? That tabloid they, from the 19 I
Yeah.
guess they still print it, but 80s and 90s, I used to love that just for fun. That's the one with the alien that backs the president and all these stories. The editor, the editor-in-chief was once interviewed, and I believe he said that he never asked himself out of a story. Well, I don't think ABC wants to ask itself into a story.
ABC doesn't deserve to exist as a news agency.
Well, George
And
Stephanopoulos runs it.
I mean, you gotta shake your head at this stuff. I mean, the insanity we've descended to. You let these demons run around and control things. Democratic Party's got to go. It's done. It's over. It's finished. Take the kids out of the public schools. Let the public schools fail. Let them fail. Start home educating your kids. Don't let them go through this insanity. You know, you raise these kids. You gave birth to them. Nourish them. Don't let them mutilate themselves sexually before they have the age of puberty. But these 2 demons encouraging them to go get sex change operations at 12. I mean, who are these people? Where do they come from? Cheat, lie, steal, kill, nuclear war, famine, destroy the dollar. They got a great agenda. Who wouldn't vote for this? And Pam, we really care about people. Yeah, sure you do. Care about depopulation is what you care about. We're going to do a shorter show today. I've got another very busy day today. We're reporting on more and more of these states that have algorithms in their state database. I think it's going to be endemic. I think we're going to start finding it everywhere. Come to God's 5 Stones, and there's a QR for those who are watching it. You can donate. Even small donations help us get we're going to try to go through every single one of the battleground states and expose the algorithms. We're going to do this increasingly intensely over the next few weeks, and we can use the donations to help fuel this effort. We want to work with all the activists across the country. This is not a exclusive job. People have got very important information. Of course, you can't present it or you're an election denier. You might go to prison because you dared to say that the Democrats cheated an election. Oh my, the Democrats cheated? I'm shocked. You know, Baghdad Bob. Nothing to see here. Just Democrats. Just lying, stealing, killing, cheating, eating cats, mutilating children. These are great people. Satan must love them. Have nuclear war, harvest souls for hell. Well, they can take all the souls to hell and lock Satan up for another 1,000 years. God can chain him back up. And Satan does not win. This is a losing battle. These people are now, they're out in the open, naked, in their gay pride nonsense, prancing around, and let them be seen for what they are. Let people ask if this is the future you want to live for yourself and your children. Dysfunction. By the way, the electric vehicles, that market's collapsed. Nobody wants electric cars. You can't even resell the damn things. When they blow up and have fires, they take tons of water and everything else to put them out. Every one of the ideas of the left doesn't work. They're all bad ideas. But yet the mainstream media promotes them. Intelligence, why? Because they want to destroy God. They want to destroy traditional values so that they can have their new transhuman future in which they can depopulate us so they can have all the resources of the world with their machines, and they can merge. Bill Gates can become a computer program while he releases all these insects to kill everybody with disease. I mean, it's insanity. You can't make this stuff up. This Dr. Jerome Corsi, in the end, God always wins. God's going to win here too. This nonsense is going to get cleaned up. Please follow us on gods5stones.com. I'm doing more and more on Substack. I'm going to try to publish something on that now every day. I'm going to make that a major outlet. In the end, God always wins. God will win here too. We are winning this battle because in the end, truth beats lies. The lies only last so long. Eventually, a whistleblower comes forward and tells the truth. And then the disgrace is massive on the pharmaceutical industries. Disgrace is massive on Fauci. Disgrace is massive on Hillary. Disgrace is massive on Kamala Ramallah, Biden. These people are, in a normal world, they'd be a joke. How do you have a president walking around who's suffering some form of mental incapacity? Thank you, Barack Obama, in the background. No, you can't have your fourth term. I'm sorry. Dr. Jerome Corsi. In the end, I encourage everybody, 2 Chronicles 7:14, we've got to repent. We should have been fighting since the 1940s to put God back in the schools. We should not have killed so many babies under Roe v. Wade. We've got to get back to God at the center of our lives. Thank you for joining us on TheTruthCentral.com. We'll be doing podcasts every weekday. God bless.